Essential Bible, Encountering the Heart of the Living God, Day 8 of 21. A brief recap of the story so far. God's original perfect creation was broken when people rejected God. That broke God's heart, and he set about putting things right again by making covenants with people. The first covenant was with Noah, where God provided the rainbow as a sign that he would never again destroy all living creatures by a flood. God's second covenant was with Abraham, that he would have numerous descendants and that they would live in the promised land, and that through them all the nations on earth would be blessed. Then God made a covenant with the Israelites at Mount Sinai when he provided the 10 Commandments to Moses. And God instructed them to obey those commandments so that they would respect and honor him, and that they would enjoy long lives and prosper. Last time we heard how God made a covenant with David that one of his descendants would establish an everlasting kingdom. The story continues today with one of David's sons, Solomon, who became king and is known as the wisest person who has ever lived. Solomon wrote around 3,000 proverbs, and we're going to encounter the wisdom of God by looking at some of those proverbs now. Encountering the wisdom of God through some proverbs of Solomon, the son of David and the king of Israel. Fear of the Lord is the foundation of true knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and discipline. Cry out for wisdom, shout out for understanding, look for her as you would for silver, search for her like hidden treasure. Then you will know what it means to fear the Lord, and you will find the knowledge of God. You will know what is honest, just, and fair, and you will find the right thing to do. For wisdom will enter into your heart, and understanding will fill your soul with joy. Don't ever forget love and faithfulness. Wear them like a necklace, as a reminder. Write them on the tablet of your heart. My child, don't reject God's discipline. Don't get angry when he corrects you, for God corrects those he loves, as parents discipline children they delight in. Blessed is the person who finds wisdom, the one who gains understanding, for her proceeds are more profitable than silver, and her yield gives better returns than gold. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Your heart determines the course of your life. Those were just a few of the very many proverbs that Solomon wrote, and we're going to turn to the story of Solomon now. The story of Solomon can be found in the book of 1 Kings, and we're going to be looking at some extracts from chapters 3, 4, 6 and 9. It begins with Solomon's request to God for wisdom. Solomon, David's son, made an agreement with Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, by marrying one of his daughters and bringing her to live in Jerusalem, the city of David, which is also known as Zion. At that time Solomon had not finished building his palace, God's temple, or the wall around the city. So the people of Israel were still offering sacrifices at various high places, for a temple honouring God's name had not yet been built. Solomon showed his love for God by following all the commands his father David had given him. However, Solomon also offered sacrifices and burned incense at the high places. The most important high place was at Gibeon, where Solomon sacrificed 1,000 burnt offerings on the altar. One night at Gibeon, God appeared to Solomon in a dream and said, "Ask me for whatever you want me to give you." Solomon replied, "You showed great love and kindness to my father, your servant David, because he obeyed you, was honest, and lived with integrity. And you still continue to show your great love and kindness to him by giving him a son to sit on his throne. O Lord my God, now you have made me your servant, the king, by following in my father's footsteps. But I am just a little child and don't know how to be king. I am your servant among your chosen people, a great nation too numerous to count. So I ask for your wisdom. Please give me, your servant, a discerning mind to govern your people well and to distinguish right from wrong. Otherwise, I will not be able to govern this great nation of yours." Solomon's request pleased God. He was glad that Solomon had asked for wisdom. So God replied, "Since you asked for wisdom to govern my people, for understanding to do what is right, and you did not ask for a long life, or wealth for yourself, or for the death of your enemies, I will give you what you asked for. I will give you greater wisdom and a more discerning mind than anyone has ever had in the past or will ever have in the future. Not only that, but I will also give you what you did not ask for, great wealth and honor. So during your lifetime, no other king will be as great as you. And if you walk in my ways and obey my commands as your father David did, I will also give you a long life." So God gave Solomon incredible wisdom and discernment, knowledge as vast as the grains of sand on the seashore. Solomon became the wisest man on earth, greater than all the wise men of the East and the wisdom of all Egypt. He became famous in all the surrounding nations. Solomon composed around 3,000 proverbs and wrote 1,005 songs. He knew about all kinds of plants, from the cedar of Lebanon to the hyssop that grows out of the wall. He also knew about animals, birds, small creatures, and fish. People were sent by the kings of every nation to hear Solomon's wisdom. Solomon builds the temple. During the 4th year of his reign, in the 2nd month, King Solomon began to build a temple for God. This was 480 years after God had rescued the Israelites from the land of Egypt. During the 11th year of Solomon's reign, in the 8th month, the temple was finished, constructed exactly as planned, down to every last detail. Altogether, it took 7 years to build the temple of God. Solomon also finished building his royal palace. After he had finished everything he planned to build, God appeared to Solomon a second time, just as he had done previously at Gibeon. God said to him, "I will answer your prayer and your request by making this temple that you have built for me holy, so that my name will be worshipped here forever. I will always watch over it and protect it, because it is dear to my heart. Then, if you follow in your father's footsteps and walk with me with integrity and uprightness, as David did, obeying my commands, laws, and regulations, I will establish the throne of your kingdom forever. This will fulfill the promise I made to David, that someone from his family would always be on the throne of Israel. But if you and your descendants turn away from me and do not obey my commands, laws, and regulations, and if you turn to serve and worship other gods, then I will banish Israel from this land I have given. I will disown the temple that I made holy to honor my name. I will cause Israel to be mocked by all the other nations. It will become an object of ridicule. I will destroy this magnificent temple, so everyone who sees it will be shocked by the sight of it. And they will ask, why did God do such terrible things to this land and this temple? And people will answer, this all happened because the Israelites turned away from their God who had rescued their ancestors from the land of Egypt, and they turned instead to serve and worship other gods. Therefore, God brought this terrible disaster upon the Israelites. Coming up next, we will look at the God who is King, part 1, how Israel is scattered as a result of sinning against God.